Welcome back to University of Michigan Soccer Stadium. Take a look at the starting lineups first for Shaka Daly. A ton of injuries as Ivo Serta still out. A change in the back as well. And also Farouk Osman moving into the midfield. A 4-3-3. Meanwhile, for the Maryland Terrapins, that combination with Andrew Samuels and Eli Cronali and Amar Sadic starting to heat up at the right time. Maryland has won 3 in a row coming into this one for head coach Sasho Sarosky. That sets the table here as we get ready. Dane Sinclair, the Canadian, celebrated senior day with his class. He does have a year of eligibility left if he wants to use it.
He's got 13 goals against this year, 7 shutouts. It's been a decent season. There have been some gaps that the defense has had to fill on and off throughout the course of the season. So consistency in front of Dane Sinclair is something that Coach Sasho Sarosky is looking for. Henry Mashburn at the other end of the field has been terrific. He stepped in big time last year. He's done some great work this year for the Wolverines.
All right, Michigan in their home whites from head to toe. Maryland in their visiting black. These two teams met twice in 2016, and then last year, Francis Atuahene, one of the all-time greats, taking off the shirt with that overtime thriller to give Michigan its first ever regular season title. Of course, making them your reigning regular season champs from a year ago, but your current regular season champs, congratulations, of course, to the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, no threat to their position this afternoon, but as you mentioned, that home field advantage in the quarterfinal is critical. You want the other team to make the trip and spend the night in a hotel and not eat regular food that you're accustomed to on game day. And so that's what these teams are fighting for here this afternoon.
Boy, it's funny you mentioned food, because when you saw that flashback 2 years ago, remember there was 5 players for Maryland either out of the game or could barely play because of food poisoning. And it was Suli Donka with the game winner, a come-from-behind winner. Here's Hallahan breaking away. Our Farouk Osman make a run into space, and knocking it out of there is Matt DeRosa. A bright light as part of this 3-game run, but here's the deal. He's been brightest at a left wing, almost left forward spot, but Chase Gasper out again with an injury.
In that moment, that transition for Michigan, you see that Umar Farouk Osman gives the stretch to the Michigan attack that is so important, and the quick transition into the attack that's so important. And it is ironic that that was not necessarily part of the game plan going into today, but because of injury, the decision had to be made by Shaka Daly to get Farouk Osman on the field in the starting 11. He is a really great threat for Michigan, and coming off the bench midway through a half sometimes offers a different perspective, and maybe even a more potent perspective for the Wolverines.
Peter Brown, who has always been ready and willing to fill in when needed. Austin Swyke, one of 4 starters out for the Michigan Wolverines. Daniel Makuna was injured yesterday in training to add to that list. Muhammad Zaki and then the captain Ivo Serta. All 4 would be starters for Shaka Daly's team. All 4 out of the game, with the exception of Muhammad Zaki, who did warm up with a brace on his knee. He could play, but we are not expected to see Makuna in this game, or Serta in this game, or Swyke. Here's Hallahan again in the midfield, looking lively. 3-on-4 at the moment. Hallahan, angled pass. Good work by Brett St. Martin into the game, primarily because of his heading ability. As you've seen Ben DeRosa start out on that right back spot quite a bit, and it was Ben DeRosa who finished the game against Penn State, seen right here on the Big Ten Network. A thriller in double overtime where Paul Benn came off the bench to give Maryland the winner. Robbie Mertz, it's down to 10 for that coveted Seniors Class Award, and he is still on that list. Just to give you an idea what an outstanding young man he is. Robbie Mertz, he's the kind of player that Ben Pierman, the assistant coach from Michigan State, after that battle, the Big Bear 1-1 tie, walked up and says, hey, I may not love Michigan, but the way you play, I've got great respect for your game.
You brought up Robbie Mertz to Sasha Sorosky in our phone call this week, and I started to think, well, you don't often ask opposing coaches about players, but Sasha lit up about Robbie Mertz and what a quality young man he is.
Abdu Samake getting the start because of the injury to Daniel Makuna. And of course, last year, Samake and Makuna were your starting center backs, but it's been the emergence of that guy right there, Jackson Reagan, at center back, that has pushed Makuna to the bench, although he's played a lot and late in games. What they'll do, or not Makuna to the bench, Samake who gets the start, they'll push Makuna up and Reagan up to try to get a goal, and then Samake will get in there. So it's not like Samake hasn't played, who's on it right now, and he'll play it back to Mashburn. There is Robbie Mertz, AKA the baby-faced assassin. What a career he's had. Ibarra back to Mertz. Mertz cannot get it by Bergman. Kleedke, good cross in front. And standing, waiting for it, is Lucas Rosendahl, the junior from Grand Rapids, getting a rare start and almost made it 1-0, Chris.
Well, Michigan doesn't want to make this a track meet, but so far they have, and they are leading. This is a terrific ball crossed in by Kleedke, and Rosendahl is right in the right spot for an opportunity at goal. Really great transition from Michigan so far. They're quickly getting out of that middle third, and they're looking for ideas in the final third. They're going to find a couple ideas. They just have to finish them.
Lucas Rosendahl has not scored a goal in his career at Michigan and was perhaps just one step away from scoring his first career goal and giving Michigan a 1-0 lead. Matt DeRosa, Eli Cronali, Andrew Samuels, Amar Sadic. That midfield reminds you a lot of the normal midfield for Michigan of Ibarra, Mertz, and Serta. But of course, without Evil Serta, changes the dynamic in the middle of the park for Shaka Daly and the Wolverines.
It does, because what Shaka Daly looks for is he looks for these 2, 3, and 4 player combos where when Michigan finally breaks out, they're able to break out as a group, especially when you start figuring in Farouk Osman and Hallahan up top. But with those missing pieces, you start to wonder, okay, what chemistry is going to start to flourish here this afternoon?
Lucas Rosendahl will drop it off. Marcelo Borges, a left back who is primarily right-footed, will push forward quite a bit. Brown will lose it. Cronali will look up, try to free Sebastian Elney. It was Elney who had the assist to Paul Bin for that overtime winner Tuesday night in College Park, and there's Paul Bin knocked to the ground. A game changer, as my main man Chris Doran calls him. He's got that kind of electric quality of play.
Love the way he bounces during his training sessions. Watched him a couple times at Ludwig Field and really enjoyed what he brought to the game, especially early in the season against Stanford. Clearly, he was happy to be back with the Terrapins after taking a year off, and really was able to, I think, find the game eventually. And in the course of this season now, his team has found him as well. He's got 3 goals in the last 3 games. He's been terrific.
All right, big games today, of course. Michigan State and Indiana playing. We'll keep an eye on that game and the other 2 games as well. Even drop in on them perhaps at halftime. Let you know what's going on here. All 4 games kicking off at the same time, 4 Eastern.
Looks like we got a little equipment check.
For Sebastian Elney. Mashburn will get ready.
Mashburn had to step in late last season. Expectations were he had trained hard enough that he shouldn't be flustered. And certainly did really well down the stretch, especially that late night game at Ludwig Field a year ago, helping Michigan to secure the Big Ten championship.
Robbie Mertz will switch it. Borges. Right to Sinclair.
It's a lovely ball. No target at the other end of the service, but it's a great thought, and it mixes things up for the Michigan attack because they have essentially they've been looking to combine getting into the attacking third, send a long ball in and just show Maryland that you are willing to do this any way we can to get to goal. One thing we've seen from Maryland, which has been sort of their modus operandi for a good part of the season, is they've started with what looks like long balls, bypassing the midfield, trying to get past that line of defense in the middle and get it to an isolated 1v1 or 1v2 situation in the attacking half of the field. They've come up short, but they can attack you in a lot of different ways. And so Maryland is not a long ball team 24/7. They've got more to offer.
Mertz. Too long and too strong there for Hallahan. You can see the umbrellas out here. We mentioned all 4 of those games, by the way, can be seen on BTN to go. BTN Plus is Hallahan with a little stumble.
That's another great idea. Another long service from the outside. Mixing it up is important. Keep the goalkeeper and the defenders guessing.
Donovan Pines will be in the conversation for Defender of the Year. And part of the reason he will be is I can't even think of Andrew Gutman as a defender anymore because he's such a great attacking left back for the Indiana Hoosiers, as you see Paul Bin.
Yeah, he has moved out of that mold, hasn't he, this year? Gutman, the outside left back for Indiana with, I think, 9 goals at my last count.
Yeah, several assists as well. Another game winner against the Ohio State Buckeyes to clinch the Big Ten regular season title. A special year for Todd Yeagley's Indiana Hoosiers. They'll have to go at it for a few games without Justin Rennicks and Griffin Dorsey with the U20 national team coached by Tab Ramos. Right now it's all ties right now. Live standings will see this switch as goals happen today. Indiana has nothing to worry about. Wisconsin, Michigan State, Maryland, and Michigan. And one of those teams will not get to host that first game in the Big Ten tournament, Chris.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Of course, the other part of it is not just hosting, but wanting to host a low seed. So Indiana will host the winner of the 8-9 game. And then if you're number 2, hosting number 7 makes sense. As you get to 3 hosting 6 and 4 hosting 5, those are battles that can go either way.
Well, and it could mean a rematch of these 2 teams yet again in that first game, as we saw in 2016. Here's Elney. Hard sliding tackle by Reagan.
Yeah, that's big time from Reagan. His coach called him their best defender of the year. 6'5", 210. He's got a couple goals and an assist, and of course his size was really important last year as well in Michigan's run to the regular season title.
Hallahan by DeRosa. Now Borgman by Borgman. Hallahan, great pass over. Kleedke again, but right to St. Clair. Borgman. Make. Bring it back to Mashburn. Ben waiting for somebody to come over and help. It'll be Brett St. Martin earning the start at right back.
Yeah, it's a better decision. You want Ben in a place where he can get the ball after it's back over the touchline.
Stay with Maryland. Rain coming down. Elney tackled hard as Elney goes down. Borges comes in hard.
We talked about the speed of Farouk Osman. How about the speed of Jack Hallahan? Especially when he's got the ball at his feet. He's past one defender and then he's past another, turns that defender and then gives it up to the open space on the far side. This is why your coaches want you to spend time with the soccer ball, even when you're walking from the kitchen back to the living room. Keep that ball close to your body, underneath you, and ready to move in one direction or the other at any given time.
Even in the kitchen.
Even in the kitchen. With mom or dad's permission, preferably.
Just don't want to spill mom's spaghetti sauce, though, with that soccer ball.
Sure don't.
Clean key. See that note on that game-tying goal. 30 minutes and change remaining here in the first. Still no score. Sebastian Elney. The ball to Ben. Ben, first times it in Mashburn. Safety first, knocks it away. And as the season has gone on, Ben's accuracy with his shooting so much better than the start of the season.
Boy, he takes a whack at this one, doesn't he? And he has very little angle, but the fight to the ball and then hitting it on the volley is fantastic from Paul Ben.
Corner kick for Maryland. Eli Cronali, number 20. Matt DeRosa, 27, waiting for the service from Sadich. Sadich, looping ball right at the 6. And out of there. One of the things that you may see a little bit in this game is Donovan Pines being more of a decoy than a target. Yes, he does have a goal finally off his head, but Sasso Sarosky talking about maybe trying to take players with him. They go away from Pines that time, and it was almost in a pretty good spot.
Dean, that's a really great point because Donovan Pines is getting tied up a bit there by Samake, but his size matchup is actually Jackson Reagan at 6'5".
William James Hervey, for a long time, was got to be considered one of the front runners, or at least top 5 freshmen of the year. He'll make the all-freshman team, but he's been out for 3 games with an injury, so he's back in there as they throw it to Elney. You know the deal, Chris Doran. A lot of games. They play Tuesday, Friday, Friday, Tuesday. They'll come back again, and the season just flies, so you get down here near the end, and a lot of injuries to deal with.
Yeah, you think about how much has to go right for you aside from just the soccer piece. It's the health piece. It's the academic piece for some teams, and the discipline part too. That all has to be going right for you in order to enter this time of the year and be healthy enough not only to compete but also to win what are typically very close games.
Can tell you as we keep an eye on all 4 of the games that you can see on BTN to go. Callum Pritchett has scored for Penn State to give them a 1-0 lead over Rutgers. Eli Cronali knocked to the ground. Umar Farouk Osman. Angled ball trying to find Kleedke. Umar Farouk Osman along with Mohamed Zaki following Francis Atuahene to Michigan and Shaka Daly's team. Slanted ball far side. A rare run forward by Ibarra. You do not see that very often from the holding mid. Ibarra was calling for it again. Umar Farouk Osman back left side in front, and Kleedke. The second time in the last 3 minutes, dangerous in and around the 6.
Well, they're doing a really nice job in combination, especially on that right side against Brett St. Martin, the freshman defender. Creating those opportunities in combination, but then the cross ball is finding its way to the 16. Although all they need is one of those to sneak through to the far post, and you've got Hallahan on that angle finishing that play up.
There's Ibarra, sophomore. Shaka Daly, a long run at Providence before deciding to come to Michigan, said he had never started a freshman at what he considers one of the most important positions, that number 6, the holding mid, until last year with the emergence of Ibarra. University of Michigan Soccer Complex, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Alongside Chris Dorn, I'm Dean Linke. Delighted to be with you here for the final day of the Big Ten Conference regular season. And this is the game. This after, as Elney goes in hard, this after Indiana clinches. At one point, it looked like maybe Michigan State and Indiana would play for it, but Indiana just kept on winning.
I think that's really solid defense by Samake, who was not expecting to start today, but gets in for Daniel Makuna, who wasn't ready to go.
Sadic and Ibarra. Jackson Reagan. Sophomore from Seattle. Robbie Mertz dancing with it. Knocked off the ball, and he'll earn the whistle. Robbie Mertz, the foul on Eli Cronale, and the captain for the Michigan Wolverines.
He gets the best of Cronale and goes between his legs, and then Cronale, to his credit, fights back, but then draws the foul. The level of activity that Mertz brings to the midfield, Dean, is such that I think Cronale, though he's so much more technical and go forward in his mindset, is probably going to be held to more of a defensive role this afternoon in keeping track of Mertz.
So free kick opportunity for Michigan. They've got 2 shots already, one for Maryland. Driven in. Here's Sinclair screaming away. James Hervé through Paris. Okay. This guy's got a little special sauce, as Chris Dorn will say, William James Hervé. He can slice and dice you if he's healthy. Pretty good player. Honest Bergman sent it forward, one in the middle of the park. Now Cronale over to Hervé. Hervé dancing inside with his right foot. Umar Farouk Osman playing deeper because of the injury to Herta. Andrew Samuels will lose it. Kleekly's going to drop it to Rosendahl. Now Kleeky and Rosendahl. A couple players taking advantage of these injuries. Here's Robbie Mertz going to try to switch it. One bounce to Hallahan. What a wonderful left foot, but he can score with his right. Goes near post with it to Sinclair, and that's the cheeky part of Hallahan.
It is the way he handles that ball. Watch how he settles it on the first touch, and now he knows exactly what he's up against. He's got 2 defenders going to close him down. Near post and the goalkeeper to beat.
William James Hervé from distance, no problem for Mashburn. Mashburn came on late in the season last year as Michigan made that run to the regular season title, and he stayed in there. Of course, they had to pick somebody. Evan Laurel left early to go pro, and he's doing a nice job for New York Red Bulls too.
You talk about Mashburn and his 12 goals allowed with a .76 goals against average, but on the offensive side of the game for Michigan this year, Dean, Michigan doubles their opponents in goals, shots, and in corners. And so they prove on paper alone, but we're seeing it this afternoon, just how well they do in the attacking half of the field.
Michigan continues to press the action. Mertz hit that one too hard.
Great thing about having Hallahan on that back post is that if he's not going to head that ball in, and he probably won't, he's going to bring that ball down, and he will work against a defender to create the chance to finish the play.
Maryland comes in 3-2-2 all time as you look at the live standings there. Maryland at 13, Michigan at 12. Of course, Maryland would claim at least the number 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament with a win. If they get a win and Michigan State loses to Indiana, Maryland would claim the number 3 seed. Donovan Pines. Chris Torn halfway through. Michigan Wolverines have been pushing the action.
They've been forcing the issue, and when you hear Shaka Daly say, "We're going for it," you know what that means.
Lead key, big swing and a miss. Umar Farouk Osman keeps it alive. Brown had come forward, he was ready. Good defensive work on that back line though by Bergman to help clean it up. Key, that's 3 times now in and around the 6, inside the 18 where he's had opportunities to score.
The senior's got 3 goals. He's a slasher. He's a battler, according to his coach. You loved him. Talked to you about him earlier this season. He sure does make it difficult for defenders when you're not sure where he's going to show up or you're not tracking him properly.
Great 20-yard pass forward coming from Borges. Here's Key again. Sinclair comes out hard. Looks like perhaps a flag was up or a whistle early as Key goes down.
This is really terrific work on the penetrating dribble. Borges looks up, finds Key. And you mentioned earlier about Borges. He just does love to come forward. He's got terrific work with the ball at his feet, very comfortable on the dribble, taking players on. And that penetrating pass right through the middle of the park finds Key in a position where if he's got his body in the right spot, he can finish.
Second ball won by Michigan. Umar Farouk Osman showing his versatility, right? Had to move back there because of the injury to Ivo Serta. Robbie Mertz, Ibada, and Umar Farouk Osman. Ibada, right back to Reagan. Umar Farouk Osman, part of that Right to Dreamer program, the same as Mohamed Zaki and Francis Atuaheni. Here's Hallahan. Hallahan coming forward, creates his own space. He'll drop it right side. Key has Hallahan behind him. Set across. Umar Farouk Osman was open, but Maryland able to knock it out of the 18. Mertz right back again to Hallahan. Hallahan back on his left, curled across. And Sinclair, you saw him keep it down, but try to bend it far side of Sinclair.
Well, watch how Hallahan collects this ball in the combination play through the middle of the park and then picks his head up, beats 2 defenders, looks for the opportunity to dish it off. He's got the goals, yes, but he's also got 7 assists to boot. Great defensive work there for Maryland to get out of that bit of trouble. But Hallahan is showing every bit of what he can bring for this team.
Of course, Chris, after that flurry, it was Hallahan who had the shot on goal. 2 shots already for number 11, Jack Hallahan. All the way down to Mashburn. Borges. Run into space was Mertz. He was open. Now they'll give it to Ibada. Try to move it over to the right side, but Brown making it run. Brown's got Hallahan in front of him. And James Hervey will try to rip it away, and Brown will lose it. And now a foul on Brown. That's just straight William James Hervey making it happen. And Brown could get a yellow card here. He lost it, and he did the only thing he could do. He took him basically down to stop the play.
Well, Hervey does a really nice job of sensing that the contact is there. He allows Brown to continue to push, and he's able to sell the foul. He's also got a handful of jersey, too. So Brown earned that as much as Hervé was able to sell it. Brown hasn't gotten a lot of playing time. He's been a great soldier for the program. If you talk to his coach, several starts in 2016. Couldn't find a lot of minutes last year.
Eli Cronali. Long ball to the head of Elney. Right to Mashburn.
This is a really nice ball, and Elney is a bit far from goal. An easy one for Mashburn, but we know how strong Sebastian Elney is. Making contact with that ball, whether it's with his head or his foot, it's going to do some damage.
Elney. William James Hervé. Curled ball. Chris, I got to ask you, we talked to Shaka Daly, and he definitely mentioned the next man up mentality, but man, talk about not getting a break. Daniel Makuna, he was in the starting lineup. When we talked to him yesterday morning, got injured in practice, so he goes down. Serta goes down. Zacky's still not in there. Austin Swyke, your normal right back, is not in there. What is his message to the team, knowing how important it is to try to get that home game, missing 4 key starters?
Well, they know what they had to go through last year in an effort to get to the tournament. They won the whole thing under a lot of pressure. I thought great coaching last year from Shaka Daly as he prepared his troops, and he said, here's the game plan. We're going to handle it, from one half to the next. When things get updated, we'll know what to do.
Matsalevich has come into the game and almost snuck one in. Far side on the post as Eric Matsalevich gets into the game and almost makes an immediate impact.
And that's what he does. He brings energy to the game, doesn't he? Matsalevich does a terrific job of turning one defender and then getting an opportunity, and a deflection earns a corner kick for Maryland.
A true number 9, Eric Matsalevich. 4 shots apiece. Mashburn directing traffic. Corner kick finding the head of Pines, but out of bounds.
Matsalevich has always been that spark plug as long as we've watched him play for Maryland, and Donovan Pines the target there. An opportunity for him to find his 2nd goal on the season.
Maryland riding a 3-game winning streak. First time they won 3 in a row since October of a year ago. But here's the thing, though. You talk big picture, and this is going to be the first time I ask you about it. When you think about Maryland, they played the toughest schedule perhaps I've ever seen, right, at this level. I mean, their non-conference games are just ridiculous when you think about Washington, Stanford, Virginia, UCLA, West Virginia, Coastal Carolina, Georgetown, and Denver. All of those teams are regular national championship team. It says 6th toughest schedule according to RPI. I find it hard to believe. I don't quite get that. Well, it's because a couple of those teams were down, I guess, based on what they normally do. But then you look at Michigan, and Michigan's RPI below 48. And gosh darn it, Chris Doran, if ever a team passed the eye test, remember Wisconsin 2 years ago, it's this Michigan Wolverine team who just have been unlucky in big games. They played with Notre Dame, lost that game, but they'd be on the outside looking in if they lost their next 2 games.
I'm thinking about the month of October for Michigan. They had 1-goal losses to Indiana, Michigan State, and Notre Dame. I mean, those are 3 of the best and historically strongest programs we've seen in the last decade, and for Indiana and Notre Dame, seemingly forever. And they have had to do it with a roster that, as we mentioned earlier in the game, has unfortunately had to bear the brunt of injury and availability, or lack thereof in terms of availability.
Hallahan can't quite get to it. Yeah, even as you said, Sasho Soroski, not just talking about Robbie Mertz, but talking about how good this Michigan team is and how they are indeed a team that belongs in the NCAA tournament, but they're going to need a decent run in the Big Ten tournament. As you see, Maryland, 5 shots by 5 different players, starting to pull some of this game back.
I think they did a really nice job to weather the storm of what is typically in a game like this with so much on the line, but in any Big Ten game, a home team that comes out energized. It's senior day here at the Michigan Soccer Complex, and so the parents and seniors were honored before kick. And then beyond that, you've got the travel you have to deal with as an away team, staying in some sort of a routine.
That was Lucas Rosendahl with that great tackle. Hallahan across and in. Kleedke had been lurking. He'd been looking. And Kleedke makes it 1-0 Michigan.
Dean, you talked about how you love Kleedke, and look at the effort on the far side of the field as this ball is served across, and who meets it but Hallahan. I told you he's going to settle this ball, and he's going to make something of it, and the fact that he's got a defender on his back is just all the more challenging and fun for Jack Hallahan. Here's the second defender, and now the cross ball with Kleedke making the slashing run to the near post. It doesn't give Dane Sinclair a chance to make a play at that ball, and that's the beauty of this service and the beauty of this run. The finish and the opportunity for Michigan to enjoy a one-goal lead.
I think it's an own goal. I don't think Kleedke actually got it. I think Maryland headed it in as Hallahan was there. We'll take another look at it. Hallahan with that great service. I like your call on Rosendahl on the other side winning it to get it to Hallahan. But it may have come off the head of Pines even into the back of the net with Kleedke lurking there. We'll get an official comment. Michigan, though, by the way, 9-0 this year when scoring first. And how about Kleedke, though, being in the right spot, and then the effort of Hallahan, right foot, left foot at this point. He can serve it on a dime, and that man, Lucas Rosendahl, getting a rare start. Back pass. We welcome those of you that just watched the Nebraska women advance in the Big Ten Women's Soccer Tournament. It is the regular season finale here in Ann Arbor. Alongside Chris Doran, I'm Dean Linke, and you see it. The Michigan Wolverines, courtesy of an own goal, lead Maryland by a score of 1-0 with 11 minutes remaining. And so much on the line in this game, because if you win it, get those 3 points, you will have a home game in the Big Ten Men's Soccer Tournament. As you see, Mashburn, let's take a look at the goal. It'll end up being an own goal here, Chris.
Jack Hallahan does a great job of crossing this ball, and Kleedke is there, but you're right. Donovan Pines is the one who gets in to try to get ahead of it, but can't. That ball doesn't go out. That ball goes in. Michigan celebrates.
So an own goal off the head of Donovan Pines. Kleedke in the right spot. Hallahan with a great service. Michigan on top despite missing 4 regular starters to injury. Before that pass from Hallahan, it was Lucas Rosendahl, the junior from Grand Rapids, who ran it down, made a great tackle, dropped it to the other side. And then Kleedke, who that was not the first great run, by the way, for those of you just joining us. Kleedke had made 3 other outstanding runs in and around the 6. Here's Hallahan. He's everywhere. Hallahan trying to go through 2 players. It's Amar Sadic. And Samuels and Robbie Mertz gets low to the ground. He'll get the whistle. Quick restart. Ibarra. Hallahan from distance, and it'll rise on him. That was on his favorite left foot, but the ball just took off on him. Samake marking Matsalevich. You can also tell those of you just joining us here on the Big Ten Network, if you're wondering about Daniel Makuna, injured yesterday in practice to add to the MASH unit for Shaka Daly. Ivo Serta, fine captain, senior from Chile, also out. Matsalevich will drop it over, top of the 18. Sadic can't do anything with it. Abdou Samake. Five shots today, 3 by Jack Hallahan. Robbie Mertz. Mertz kept it alive. Shot. I think that's Muhammad Zaki, who has come into the game wearing the brace, so that is a good sign for Shaka Daly.
Shaka Daly opting to give him 10 minutes or so before this half is over. I thought for sure we'd see a whistle here, but the ball is poked out on rebound, and the shot by Zaki is picked up pretty easily by Dane Sinclair.
Zaki now is standing just outside the 6. He's ready. So is Umar Farouk Osman. So is Hallahan, but not able to get it into the mixer there with the lead right now, 1-0. Live standings, there you see it. If it ended right now, put it in the books. Michigan wouldn't even have to worry about what was going on and anything else. They would get a home game to start the Big Ten tournament. See both teams, their seed range from 3 to 5, and Chris, you know the deal. I mean, just staying at home, not having to get on a plane or a bus or deal with logistics, and of course the weather's starting to change right now. It's big time.
That's really important, and I think Michigan, given their situation from last year, relishes the opportunity to stay at home. It's a continuation of their success that they built last year.
Ibada with the free kick, driven in. Trying to find Reagan, still loose. Second battle, third battle. And then cleared out of there by Matsalevich. Raincoat and glove kind of weather here. The regular season finale. 4 games going on at the same time. Hallahan. Hallahan left foot. Headed out of there by Johannes Bergman. Michigan gonna make some changes as Joel Harrison, the highly heralded recruit from Canada, came in as one of the top recruits in last year's big-time recruiting class that included Zaki and Umar Farouk Osman, and Shaka Daly was just as excited about Joel Harrison as he was those two right to Dreamers, but he has been out working his way back into limited time. Got in a couple weeks ago. Michigan got the win, and he got the lead, the Michigan fight song in the locker room. A big moment for that man, number 4, who's getting ready to take the throw in for Michigan.
He's got to get some minutes to get match fit. There's no doubt about it. You can do as much work as you want during training, but getting in there during a game is important.
That was Zaki with the flick to Rosendahl. You can see players slipping here. Eli Cronally's been good. The transfer. His brother Alex Cronally, of course, former Big Ten Defender of the Year, now with the Columbus Crew program for Major League Soccer. Sasho Soroski's been impressed with his IQ. Wearing number 20. A lot of trips from Ohio to College Park for the Cronally family. Osmond. DJ Reeves, looked like he was fouled there by Harrison, looking for the call.
Maryland subs in now and trying to make something of these last few minutes, make something of their appearance, however brief in the first half, and maybe get to even with Michigan before the break. I'll tell you what, St. Martin is terrific in the air.
Yeah, he'll be a center back eventually for Sasho Swarovski. Donovan Pines does have a year of eligibility left, but he is, well, you talk about teams being on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. He's probably on the bubble as well as like Andrew Gutman was last year for Indiana, whether to turn pro. Sadic knocked out of there.
That you cannot allow, if you're a Michigan defender, for Sadic to get that ball at the 18 and have a little time and space. We saw what he did against Notre Dame. I beg your pardon, against Penn State. When he's got time and space, he can really hurt you.
Mashburn directing traffic here on this corner kick for Maryland, the second of the game. Michigan has not had a corner kick yet. Maryland has 7 shots to Michigan 6. The far post, a player goes down. It's Pines. He wanted the whistle. Referee says, go ahead and get up. Canisius Land-Sade, who scored a goal against Penn State. Ibarra. Wow, that's great work by Ibarra to keep it in bounds. Umar Farouk Osman will look up. Hallahan's making a run. A hard tackle will take down Umar Farouk Osman. The referee will come over, and it looks like it'll be a yellow card, I believe, to Cronali. We'll double check that to make sure. It's number 20, Eli Cronali.
Farouk Osman is on the run, and you're right, Eli Cronali is all by himself there in the midfield. He has got to track Farouk Osman and make sure he doesn't take up all of that real estate. A tactical foul in the midfield for Cronali, and he earns the yellow.
No turn.
1-0 Michigan on top. Senior day for Michigan. 6 seniors, including their co-captains, Evo Serta and Robbie Mertz. There's Harrison earning a corner kick. Borges, Makuna, Brown, and Kleedke also part of the senior class here on senior day.
It's a really strong group of players, and I can't help but think that the brand of soccer that Shaka Daly wants Michigan to be known for is embedded in these guys. You know, we saw a couple players leave the program last year who I thought really had the brand that Michigan professes in their blood.
Hallahan. High, lofted, left-footed balls. They try to keep it away from Pines. Borges. And get it back to Hallahan. Snapped out of there by Matsalevich, who comes back in support. Sadic, good squared ball. Cronali will play it forward, and that should run down the clock. An own goal, but it was Jack Hallahan who was dangerous. Noah Kleedke was dangerous, and Michigan, after 45 minutes with a 1-0 lead.
Maryland did a really nice job of weathering the storm against the home team for the first 15, 20 minutes, but unfortunately I felt like Michigan, if you're a Maryland fan, Michigan was able to find some places where they were maybe going to be able to capitalize. And in fact, in your assessment of how that goal happened, it really was the culmination of work with service to the middle and putting a ball in a place where you know you've got a slashing runner like Kleedke. It made it very difficult for the defense for Maryland to manage things in the middle of the park right there at the 12 or the 6, and as a result they get that goal.
It's been a lot about that next man up mentality. Another player goes down yesterday, but Michigan adapting Shaka Daly's next man up mentality, working out so far.
Zamakay's done very well in that central back role alongside Jackson Reagan, who has become a very seasoned defender in this year. So it's a really great combo if you have to go with your plan B.
Here's last year's Big Ten Coach of the Year, Shaka Daly. And Shaka, you talked about that next man up mentality. You got another player that goes down yesterday in Daniel Makuna, but your boys have come to play here today with so much on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, senior days makes it a little bit special for some of these guys. They're willing their way through it, and we got our Band-Aids and Scotch tape, and we're going. We're going and we're going.
Shaka, you said yesterday you didn't want this game to become a track meet, but I felt like your guys started out with a really quick effort in the beginning and kept the pressure up. What more can you offer here in the second half? What are you going to tell your guys?
Well, I think we started with strong mentality, and I thought we competed really, really well early on, and I thought we moved the ball well. So I think from that standpoint, we got off to a strong start with what we wanted from a momentum standpoint. Can we sustain it and keep it going? They have subs. They have next guy up, too, at Maryland as well. So we got to continue to sustain it, continue to sub the right guys, keep the energy high in the front of the team. I thought Lucas and Noah have done really, really well, and Jack's lively. So I think Jack will get better as the game goes on.
Great call. Shaka Daly, always nice to spend time with you. Thanks so much. Good luck in the second half. Good luck in the Big Ten tournament.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right, Shaka Daly, the top man for the Michigan Wolverines. A lot of drama the last 3 times these two teams have met. Expect more of the same with Michigan on top, 1-0. From Donovan Pines, joined by the 26-year top man for the Maryland Terrapins, Sasho Sorosky. And Sasho, you know the deal. Michigan, Maryland, always a lot of drama. Sasho, what was your message to your team at the half?
Dean, I can't hear anything. He was talking.
Obviously, we've got some technical difficulties. Sasha, if you can hear us, give us what you told your team at the half. Doesn't look like it's going to work out for us. That's too bad, because I always love hearing from Sasho Sorosky, Chris Doran.
Well, he's one of the best when it comes to taking tactical assignments and adjusting within a game. And I always think that halftime adjustment is one of the most critical ones that you can make.
Sasha might be with us now. Sasha, what's your message to your team at the half here?
Well, I thought our defensive pressure was a little soft. I thought we sat a little too much, and the rotation in the midfield, we give them too much time. Their 3 did a nice job of moving it, but we've got to be a little bit more direct. We haven't really gotten end line at all, and you saw from their goal, getting end line in these conditions, good things happen. So you're going to see a little bit more directness from us, and hopefully get into the good spots and get one back here.
All right, Sasha, thanks for being with us. We do appreciate it.
Thanks. Okay, thanks.
Sasho Sorosky. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but give him credit for hanging in there with us as we get set. Muhammad Zaki back out there for the Michigan Wolverines. Good to see him on the field here, Chris Doran.
It's important that he got those 10 minutes in the first half and now feels strong enough that he can continue to contribute. He's got a couple of goals, 4 assists on the season with 8 points, and having really shown up in only half the season's games as a starter. You know that he's got the rhythm, match fitness, and he's got the commitment too. We saw a lot from him last year. Want to see more for him as he contributes in his Michigan career.
Michigan, as you saw, Zaki wearing the all-white jerseys. Maryland wearing the all-blacks. I feel like the stat I'm about to give you, including the one earlier, doesn't matter when Maryland and Michigan play, but got to let you know that Michigan 9-0 when they score first, 8-0 this season when they lead at half. But again, I feel like all of those kind of stats when these two teams get together just don't mean a whole lot, as there has been some late-game heroics, late-game drama, overtime thrillers, and we could have another one here today, Chris.
And when the rate picks up, it becomes that much more challenging for the players to execute. But I feel like the game we saw in the first half, if we see more of Maryland on the ball, there could be more chances for the Terrapins in the Michigan half of the field. But the Wolverines certainly have found it as it relates to creating chances in the attacking third.
Offside flag is up. Not sure who they called that on, unless they didn't feel like Zaki came back. Live standings with Michigan with that 1-0 lead right there. They would secure that all-important home game to start the Big Ten tournament. Sasho Sorosky calling for the foul. Never known to be silent on the sideline, and Shaka Daly also, you can usually hear him. That would be fun to call a game sometime just right down there by the 4th officials table with those two coaches over each shoulder, Chris.
It certainly would. It'd be Very different experience. I think you could just mic both benches and leave the announcers out. It would be incredibly entertaining.
Ball forward, and now Sebastian Elney earning the whistle.
I think for Maryland, there's got to be more from Elney, Sadich, and Bin. We actually saw Paul Bin was subbed out in that first half. He's back in to start the second half. A little bit of contact there in the end, so a restart opportunity for Maryland.
Third foul for Michigan. That one on Marcelo Borges, one of those 6 seniors celebrating Senior Day. Shaka Daly talking about the extra emotion because of Senior Day, and give Sasho credit. He called it like it is, right? He said he felt like Michigan had a good portion of the game. Those 3 front runners were dangerous, and he also said Maryland needs to go more direct. It was a long ball that earned the foul right here. We'll see what happens with it. Eli Cronali, both hands in the air. Pines is in the mix. Now he will keep it alive to Andrew Samuels. Then he'll slip. Umar Farouk Osman. Numbers are good here for Michigan. Right down the middle to Robbie Mertz. Mertz is in. Mertz will shoot it. And oh, wow, denied at the last moment. Matt DeRosa with perhaps a game saver for the Terps.
He is tracking back. Watch the top side of your screen. Left corner. Look where DeRosa is right now. All he's doing is running back to goal. That's his only assignment in that moment, to get back. And as he does, last man back makes the save.
What a great shot. It's our BTN standout presented by Auto Owners Insurance. On Senior Day, the baby face assassin was probably already celebrating, but what a save from number 27, Matt DeRosa. Near post. Sadich will send it out. Andrew Samuels just slipped. We've seen the rain here all day. He fell down, and Umar Farouk Osman was off to the races, Chris Doran.
That was tremendous transition from Michigan, and give Maryland credit for their transition defensively as well. When Sasho Sarofsky says the key for Maryland is transition, he's talking about both ways. He's not talking about just getting out on the attack. He's talking about tracking back defensively. Maryland did really well in that situation after the restart. When you think about it, Mertz had Dane Sinclair on the ground before he ripped that shot.
Let's take one more look at what should have been the 2-0 lead here.
Dane Sinclair is going right. Robbie Mertz is going to his right. And Mr. DeRosa is making the save.
Boy, the mud was there as well. How about that initial look where they showed Matt DeRosa just chugging right from midfield, right down the spine of the field. You can bet that they have racked that play right there. Producer Glenn Hallis, Danny Douglas, that is racked, because if Maryland comes back and wins it, you got to give a whole lot of credit to that effort right there from Matt DeRosa.
Talk about the first 5 minutes of each half and the last 5 minutes of each half. In the first 5 minutes, fireworks from both of these teams. And that really would have sunk the Maryland Terrapins in that sequence if they'd completed the play.
Amar Sadich over the ball. Sadich with options. He can shoot or pass. He'll pass, looking for Pines. Say it goes off the head of Pines, and ironically, it was the head of Pines that has led to the only goal in this game so far.
Look at the big bodies in there. 2 6'5" players battling it out. Pines got the better of it as he got to the ball first.
Think about Pines, Clarksville, Maryland, spend a lot of time with the DC United Academy team. I mean, they play with the ball on the ground. They spend a lot of time passing. It's the DC United way, and they just did not spend a whole lot of time heading the ball. And it's a craft that Sasho Sarofsky feels like more teams need to continue to work with, because not only defensively, but attacking coming forward, you got to know how to head the ball, the right angle, how to keep it down and on frame. And I feel like, Chris Dorn, your former coach, not being trained enough. Here's Ben. kick Maryland.
I don't know that this generation of college players is dealing with it because I think they grew up heading, but you know, U.S. Soccer has asked the kids up to a certain point not head the ball. And so you are teaching 12, 13-year-olds how to head the ball for the very first time in a lot of situations now. They don't have much time to develop.
Cronally curled in. Let it roll out of bounds for a throw-in.
Dean, I'm not being critical of U.S. Soccer's suggestion that we need to wait and allow kids and their physical bodies to develop, because I'll also say that there are a lot of youth coaches in our sport who don't know how to teach heading properly, and that in and of itself is a danger. But I think your point is supported.
Ben throws off both gloves. Long throw in. Samuels. Lucas Rosendahl, who deserves a lot of credit for his effort being a key sub with the absence of Ivo Serta. Johannes Bergman, the German, finds the head of Pines. It sits right in front. And it fell to the foot of Brett St. Martin, the right back. And Brett St. Martin did not do much with what was a pretty good opportunity.
I kind of feel like we've got several defenders up there. There's Pines, there's St. Martin. Elney was lurking. Perhaps wants to make more of that next time out.
So Brett St. Martin, the freshman from Mount Airy, Maryland, Mount St. Joseph, played club with Baltimore Celtic. So good in the air, had an opportunity that time though with the ball at his feet. Tied at 1. William James Hervey back in the lineup after missing the last few games because of injury. Valley has been slips. That has been a factor here in the second half. Borges now to Mohamed Zaki. Farouk Osman has made a run inside the 18. Zaki, though, looking for opportunities, trying to spin Pines, and he just dribbles right into Pines.
He certainly made it easy, and you wonder if he's being a little ginger on the injured knee that he's dealing with.
Marsadic down to the ground.
Big defensive play here. Zaki wants to go. Donovan Pines needs to put his body between Zaki and the ball, and he does. He slips right in there with the opportunity, and I do feel like Mohamed Zaki is probably holding back just a little bit.
Here comes Maryland. Shot from distance, but right to Mashburn.
Hasn't been called on a lot. It's good work by DeRosa, penetrating on the dribble.
Eli Cronally. 9 shots today by 9 different Maryland players. And Chris, again, it goes back to that incredible save there by Matt DeRosa. As you see these 9 different players trying to get a score. You know, Maryland, the way they've been playing, they've won 3 in a row, including 5 goals against the Ohio State Buckeyes. You know they can score. And the longer they can hang around in this one, the more we might have that drama looming. Of course, a couple years ago, remember all those players out with food poisoning. Michigan got out to that lead, and Maryland came storming back to win it.
It was an awful lot of drama. It did feel like the Maryland camp was writing that game off 2 years ago, Dean, and the spirit and the fight that came from the players who were put on the field was tremendous. We're seeing the same thing today. I mean, I think for Makuna to be out and for Samake to step in and do a really nice job defensively for Michigan has been phenomenal.
There is Samake trying to find Hallahan. Ibada. Bergman. You heard Sasso Swarovski say they're not going to be afraid to play direct. They tried to keep it on the carpet there. Taken away by one of the heroes of the game so far for Maryland, Matt DeRosa. Good job by Mashburn, top of the 18. Ake pushing and shoving there with Sebastian Elney. Like Elney was trying a little fair play though after the fact. Umar Farouk Osman, extra gear there. Bergman with his power though, able to knock it out of bounds.
Yeah, Bergman does a nice job there. You know, you're wondering if you're going to play direct. Elney's going to be one of your targets, obviously. Who else is there? It's Paul Bin, who really has not had much of the ball this afternoon on one side. Hervé has been good, but really just in 1v1 situations, and then not much has really come from it. So if they do start to go a little more direct, I'll be interested to see how they're able to function up top and create those chances.
Mohamed Zaki, good tackle there from Brett St. Martin. Eli Cronali will look up. It's Paul Bin making a run down the right side. He wanted it. Taken away, though, by Marcelo Borges. Borges. Back to Zaki. Borges is going to stay with the run. Zaki just mishit it. Mar Sadic.
Really, I think Maryland's defense has been the strongest here this afternoon, in particular in this start of the second half. And then from the other side of the ball, you see the same thing from Michigan. So both teams really pushing their attacking third and struggling to be creative and finding that opportunity to goal.
Matt DeRosa for Hervé. Bergman now, Andrew Samuels, the senior. Just a solid citizen. Sasso Swarovski said one of the nicest kids you're ever going to meet. He's played everywhere for Sasso Swarovski. He's certainly happy, though, to be back in that holding midfield position. He had to play right back a ton because of the injury to Chase Gasper as they had to reshape that back line, Chris.
And now I think he's got a partner in the middle with Eli Cronali, and perhaps a future as Sadic will move on in graduation, and they'll look to put the right pieces in place in the middle.
Here's Mertz, good ball. Rosendahl, Lucas Rosendahl taking advantage of his opportunity to get in there for Shaka Daly. Part of that next man up mentality, but then a pull of the Pines jersey.
And that comes after Donovan Pines steps in and yet again puts his body between the attacking player and the ball. Watch how Pines gives chase. Rosendahl's got him on his back. Quick step in is one of the things that you don't see in a big man too often, and that's the anticipation, the quick speed that Donovan Pines brings when he's able to step in and separate an attacking player with the ball.
Pines knocking it out of bounds with pressure from Zaki. The only goal of the game came off of his head and own goals. He was trying to protect that near post pass from Hallahan. As Kleebke made the run, he went down, got low, and off his head and in the back of the net by his goalkeeper, Dane Sinclair. Standings. Congratulations again to Todd Yeagley in Indiana. Wisconsin, John Trask. What an amazing season for John Trask, T. Meyer, Aaron Holbein, and that coaching staff. They pretty much lost their entire team, with all kinds of respect, of course, to Mitch Guitar and Nora Leibold in the middle of the field, who know how to win big games, and that's what they've done this year. They've won big games against big teams in overtime.
Dean Cowdrey, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, goalkeeper for Wisconsin. They call him the Cowboy.
Jack Hallahan. Hallahan not afraid to curl one in, and yeah, offside. Umar Farouk Osman was offside there. Men's soccer on BTN is brought to you by State Farm. as we are counting down at 29 minutes. It's 1-0 Michigan. By the way, it's 1-0 Indiana. Griffin Dorsey on a header in the 58th minute.
As you mentioned, though, Indiana's going to have to spend a week and a half to 2 weeks without Dorsey, without Justin Rennicks, as they head to CONCACAF qualifying at Bradenton with the U20s.
Hallahan. Hallahan staying with it. Matt DeRosa. You hear the well done Matty from the Maryland bench is Jack Hallahan. Men's soccer on BTN is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today. We told you about those 6 seniors here on Senior Day. Good looking group. Robbie Mertz, Evo Serta right in the middle of it. Both those 2 players, the only Big Ten team that had not one but 2 players picked to the initial 30 on the senior class list. Robbie Mertz still in the running. Justin Geelan has come into the game wearing number 7, and Shaka Daly talked about all the subs Maryland can bring here to try to get the equalizer.
Yeah, and the concern there is that Shaka doesn't have that deep of a bench because of some of the injuries that they're dealing with, and he wants to make sure that what they bring in the way of quality is enough to compete with Maryland from start to finish.
Here's a shot from Matsalevich at the top of the 18 to try to make it 1-1, but can't get it on frame. So into the games, Justin Geelan, big-time basketball player in high school, good enough where Sasho has said he can walk on and train with the Maryland basketball team if he wants to. Here's Borges coming forward. Marcelo Borges prefers it on his right foot. Here's Hallahan, likes it on his left. Dane Sinclair gets down to make the save.
How about this ball? Borges does a really nice job at midfield, takes it, finds Hallahan. Hallahan cuts it back, and through 3 defenders has to find a way to find net. Good work by Dane Sinclair, snuffing that one out.
Mentioned that eye test earlier with Michigan with that high RPI. I mean, other people are noticing Michigan has been receiving votes pretty much all year in the United Soccer Coaches poll. Number 56 in the RPI, but still received quite a few votes this year as they did fall out of the top 25. Sadic, angled ball, trying to find Geelan. Borges will knock it out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in down near the corner flag.
Maybe with additional importance here, Dean, is that Michigan was picked to finish among the top 3-4 teams in the conference by the coaches in the conference. And they have been able to meet that expectation.
Samuels. Brett St. Martin, little give and go there with Geelan. Look at Robbie Mertz come over, fight, and win it back. And there's Mertz again. This time he'll knock it out of bounds. Sasho Soroski showing his quickness. He can still play. His wife, you know, can play. Shannon Higgins never lost a game at the University of North Carolina and was part of the U.S. team that won the first World Cup in 1991 in China. Sent back in and across. Little turn there from Matsalevich. Good ball again, still alive. Sadic looking for the equalizer, and Mashburn gets low.
This is great stuff from Mashburn, but Amar Sadic is finally playing here late in the season the way we know he can deliver. Great ball in by Matsalevich, and Sadic takes on defenders looking for the opportunity. A deflection. Mashburn has to go down and get big with that ball. Man, that deflected ball is going to be a problem for any goalkeeper. Mashburn's phenomenal in that sequence.
Rosendahl. Cleed Key. There's Donovan Pines, his 1v1 defending, not just today, but how many times have we seen him the last couple years right here on BTN do exactly that. Michigan. As you look at those standings, Michigan actually holds the tiebreaker due to goal differential. Michigan and Michigan State battling to that draw in the Battle of Big Bear. Because remember, Indiana's leading Michigan State. That's why those live standings reflect not only this game here, but Michigan State. If that scoreline against Indiana stays the same, they would lose in that tiebreaker. Still host a home game. Justin Geelan. Live and missed opportunity, or was the flag up? I never heard a whistle as Geelan drops it far side. Brilliant work here by Maryland with a ton of subs in there. Geelan, I don't know if the flag ever did come up.
Hatzelevich does a terrific job here as Geelan gets all three defenders watching him, and on the backside, Hervé is there with an opportunity to put that ball at least on frame. This is really great work, and they catch the Michigan defense snapping just a little bit. We haven't seen anything like this from Michigan all afternoon. A unique opportunity that goes to waste.
Hard tackle for Maryland, no whistle. Robbie Mertz. A lot of subs into the game now for Sasha Swarovski, including 19, Brayan Padilla, freshman from Frisco, Texas. There's Robbie Mertz making the run. Borges. A lot of black jerseys and almost another own goal. That's the only goal we have so far. There's Brayan Padilla. He was on the end of that last opportunity wearing number 19, been injured most of the year. Also into the game is number 14, Luka Levy. Sasha Swarovski going deep here. Try to get the equalizer. Corner kick Michigan, trying to make it 2-0. Sinclair will punch it out. Ibarra, another opportunity to get it inside. Michigan claiming it went off of Maryland. I think that will be the ruling as Umar Farouk Osman is down.
This is a dangerous service in. This ball is twisting. That's the first one as Dane Sinclair does well to get the ball out, punch it outside. But the second ball twisting and headed towards that far post.
Whistle before that corner kick. And now the clock will be stopped here. Matt DeRosa, Umar Farouk Osman, getting some instruction there from the referee, Chris.
I think he's telling him, look, I'm going to make it really simple for you. It's either going to be a foul or we're going to play.
Corner kick. Driven in. It was Pine's first time. Brett St. Martin, so good in the air. Here, Sasha Swarovski just telling Maryland to knock it away. Padilla gonna make a long run.
I like the way Michigan has reloaded through the back in their possession. They've been very comfortable with that. They stretch Maryland a little bit, then they start going after the flanks on their buildup.
Borges.
You know how hard Sasha Swarovski trains every member of the roster throughout the course of the week. It's a real luxury for a coach to be able to pull some of these unknowns out and put them in places on the field where he knows they're going to be able to be successful and help the group on the whole. It's a real advantage, and it really unbalances the plan of the opponent, because you've got some players out there now who have to kind of get introduced to who they're playing against. The element of surprise is a wonderful part to the attack. I think that's what you're seeing from Maryland right now.
Good point. Is Levy's on it now, has not seen a ton of play. Brain Padilla's in there, and so is Gielan. Amar Sadic, nobody can be surprised by him. Padilla over to Gielan, now back to Samuels. Give and go there with Matt DeRosa.
This is just great for Maryland.
Levy. Taken away. Michigan. Farouk Osman, heavy touch. It'll come back to Maryland.
17 Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year. He has got great individual talent. Tremendous with the ball, strong vision. I think he loves playing with the group. Starting him in more of an attacking role is obviously something that Coach Shakadeli looks forward to.
Matulevich trying to hang on to it, but can't. He'll lose it. As Reagan will earn the whistle, and Michigan are going to take their time. Matulevich started the season as a starter, Chris.
I loved him as a freshman. He just brings so much fire to the game when he come off the bench. Really disrupts things.
Fouls, 7 for Maryland, 6 for Michigan. Michigan, far side here. As Michigan also going deep to their benches. Kevin Buka is coming to the game wearing number 19. Seen him out there a ton. The freshman from Rochester, Michigan, Stony Creek High School. So big minutes here for this young man. Hallahan with the corner kick. Over the head of Mertz. Ibata. Hallahan's got another opportunity. Hallahan back on his left foot. It'll fall to Umar Farouk Osman. He'll turn and spin, but cannot put it on frame.
Farouk Osman may watch this tape and see why his teammates were screaming for him. I know he wants that big turn. He's at the 12, but he's got a couple of openings. Namely, right at the top of the box there.
Kleedke.
Yep. Where he could have just laid that ball off for a quick finish.
Yeah, Kleedke was at the left. Good call. On the top of the box was Kevin Puka. He would have taken a goal here and limited action all season long. Osman will lose it. They'll play advantage. Robbie Mertz. Been one of the best players on the field yet again here for Michigan. Doing it all. Umar Farouk Osman will drop it back. Samake. Barra shows. They'll bring it back here to Reagan. Jackson Reagan.
I have a question for you, Dean. I was watching tape this week of Michigan and thinking to myself, is it possible that if this team was healthy through the season, that this Michigan team would be better than last year's Michigan team?
Well, that's a good question. Francis Atuahene, for me, when he was healthy, was not only one of the best players in the Big Ten, he was one of the best players in the nation. And so they don't have that, right? Mm-hmm. So unless Zaki can play like that because he's been injured most of the season, perhaps. And then, of course, the little bulldog in the back that just kind of nipped at you the entire time, and Mr. Stevens. They're also missing a little bit of that fight in that right back.
Well, that's a good point. So one player up top, one player in the back, and you're right, they're big personalities, they're big presence players, they're big game players. Not that any of these players aren't.
So I do want to have a correction here, as you're a little surprised as well to even hear Dorsey was in that game, because I'm not sure if he's playing or not, but it's 0-0, the Indiana and Michigan State game. So as it sits, because that score was not right as it came down the line, Michigan still the 4th seed, as you see Rosendahl is going to come back into the game.
And as we watch these minutes tick away, keep in mind that restarts are always important, both defending and attacking. But the other part of it is, under these conditions, restarts take on a life of their own.
Donovan Pines. Now Brett St. Martin. Eli Cronale. All it takes is one golden opportunity here for Maryland. DJ Reeves off the bench. He's a senior. Reeves calling for it. Pines. Good job by Yeelan to keep it alive. Brett St. Martin, and it'll be a corner kick, Maryland.
That's a good string of possession, and that's a confidence builder for Maryland. Under these conditions, again, here we are in a restart situation.
Cronale with his right foot. Good ball across! Off the crossbar and hammered home. Brett St. Martin missed one earlier. He'll equalize here, and we're tied at 1.
We talked about how St. Martin is so good in the air. He figures in on restarts. You saw our Big Ten crew showing you just how sloppy it is with the goal box showing mud, the rain pouring down. Second effort, 2 defenders going backwards, and Brett St. Martin headed forward with a finish.
First career goal for Brett St. Martin. And Chris, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Go back to number 27, Matt DeRosa, for making that run from midfield to knock away the shot from Robbie Mertz to keep it at 1-0. You knew it was coming. You just did. I mean, it's Maryland, Michigan, and the Terps never just sail off into the night, right? We're tied at 1. Leedke. Bergman will play it back to Sinclair. Of course, Maryland, all they need is a tie, by the way, as we showed you those live standings, just to set everything straight. A tie, and they get a home game. Still a lot of soccer left, though. Maryland, with a win or a draw against Michigan, would claim at least the number 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Gielan over to St. Martin. Couple of freshmen featuring big here in the second half for the Maryland Terrapins. Reeves, good little move there with DeRosa. DeRosa back across. Climbing the ladder again, I think, was St. Martin. He stays down. The fall to Justin Geelan. The moment Maryland's offside. Cronally knows it. Everybody's reset. Everybody's onside. Cronally. Hard tackle knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Maryland.
Well, the subs were a concern for Shaka Daly. He mentioned that at halftime, and it looks like Borges is either closing up shop or having to replace the shin guard.
Looks like some cramping going on for Marcelo Borges.
The subs were a concern for Shaka Daly, and we've seen the subs here in the last 10 minutes who brought a little extra life. Watch the right side of your screen, number 2 in white. He has to jump and then comes down, and perhaps that extension was just enough to initiate the cramping.
Borges tries to get up. Going to come out of the game here. Now Peter Brown's going to come back in, and once again, as Shaka Daly said, those bandages and scotch tape, and they're going to need even more of that as Brown comes right back in ready to go. But Borges, another high-level player that will be missed by Shaka Daly's team. Long throw in. Ben DeRosa, and what you're seeing now is both DeRosas on both sides of the field for Maryland has allowed Brett St. Martin to move forward and be dangerous. Brett St. Martin may have even earned himself a little rest as well as they'll play it to Geelan. Justin Geelan. Up there by Brown, who's come on for Borges. Hard tackle from Brown and clean. Sadich didn't like it. Oh, Klevke earning the foul against Pines.
This is great work by Brown. Very, very clean tackle. Of course, Sadich doesn't like it, but no contact on the player at all, and then Brown's up and he delivers the ball forward. I think Sadich is actually more upset about the lack of pace on the pass or the dropped ball from his teammate.
Remaining here in regulation. Michigan was hoping to put it away, start the second half. A great clearance by Matt DeRosa off the line after Robbie Mertz had beaten Sinclair. Kept Maryland in it. Now Maryland with the equalizer. Mertz will drop it. Right side here to Hallahan. Hallahan. Angled ball to come all the way to St. Clair. Did we mention that there's been some drama with these two teams here the last few times they've met?
You did mention that. You have to go back, a couple of years and take a look at how things pan out when games are tied and there's a lot on the line. We're talking about seedings in the conference tournament. We're talking about even a championship last year.
6 of the 7 all-time meetings have reached overtime between these two teams. Elney off of Brown. Reagan clear it out. Sebastian Elney has scored some big goals in overtime. Most of them, though, coming at College Park. He'll have to do it on the road for Maryland. Long throw in. Another corner kick for Maryland.
He scored on the last corner kick.
Eli Cronali. Cronali. High, lofted ball. Looked like a handball there from Reeves. Michigan scored on an own goal in the first half off the head of Pines. The answer coming from Brett St. Martin.
It's a rather large ball here to make an effort at. But that ball whipped in just at or above the 6.
Hallahan. Nifty move, trying to stay with it. Maryland will knock it out of bounds. It'll be a throw in Michigan. Fans know they're on TV. Jack Hallahan always up for big moments. Here's Mertz. Sadich had that one red, stepped in front of Ibata. Leg stays down. Matsalevich is on. Matsalevich looking for options. Goes ahead and takes a shot near post as Reeves was making a run.
I'm not exactly sure if the assistant was in line to call this one way or the other, but the flag did stay down as Eli Cronali lays a great ball outside to Matsalevich. And he's able to get to the near post. The assistant referee did signal with his hand that he was confirming he was onside, so good for our assistant and good for Matsalevich on the run.
Rosendahl runs right into Ben DeRosa. Didn't start the game, but he's in there now on the right side. His brother Matt DeRosa over on the left. Try to find Elney. Cleaned up here by Ben DeRosa. Back over to Elney. Elney got the assist on the equalizer for Maryland. Elney into the 18. Sent across. Ake with the clearance. Eli Cronali. 4 minutes remaining. Long throw in. Little flick there from Pines. Hallahan. The transition game is big for Michigan. Hallahan. Good ball to Umar Farouk Osman. Trailing in behind. Making the long run is Kleedke. Umar Farouk Osman. Far side. Too strong there for Lucas Rosendahl.
Well, that's a great ball from Hallahan out to Farouk Osman, and Osman does a lovely job of waiting for the run to the far post by Rosendahl. Watch how Hallahan slips this through the defenders and forces Bergman to turn outside. The opportunity for Farouk Osman as he waits for that runner on the far post. A really decent service. Good quick transition from Michigan.
Reeves will come all the way back to St. Clair.
Underneath, please, underneath.
3 minutes and change remaining. And all of a sudden, Chris, you feel like Maryland has a good portion of this game. Michigan's had some nice moments of transition, but for the most part, you feel like Maryland has more of the control right now.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot more confidence coming from the players wearing dark shirts. And they're earning these opportunities where, as I mentioned in the first half, Michigan typically doubles the numbers for their opponent when it comes to goals, shots, and corners. And Michigan technically hasn't scored a goal this afternoon, given the fact that the first goal, theirs, was an own goal.
Another corner kick here for Maryland. 7 corner kicks for the Terps. Cronali, pretty good ball in front. Hit Reagan first, but then Pines. It'll come back to Michigan. I told you about Shaka Daly's going for it mentality. Sasha's got the same mentality.
Yeah, he does, and he's got good numbers in there in that situation, but the battle with the two big guys, Jackson Reagan and Donovan Pines, has been relatively entertaining this afternoon on these restarts.
But what an afternoon on the Big Ten Network, right? Iowa and Penn State field hockey, they go into overtime, and the Hawkeyes win on the road. Nebraska and Ohio State women's soccer, they go on to overtime. Nebraska wins on the road, and we still got some time here, but boy, it sure feels like overtime's looming, Chris.
It does, and it seems like it always does. We've seen the stats between these two teams. They tend to embrace that opportunity.
Matt DeRosa put out of there by Smake. Johannes Bergman sends it back in. Off the head of Sadich first. Looked like another handball there from Reeves. Sadich. Wait, you're going to say that went off of Michigan. Here the coaching staff from Michigan not agreeing with that. It's Cleed Key, and now it'll go off of Maryland. Shaka Daly assisted by Tommy McMenemy, Johan Obando, Justin McCarr, and Ali Jawad. There's Cronelli, 45 seconds away from more overtime on the Big Ten Network. Chris, we called it, you just can't let Maryland hang around, right? You just can't do it.
And it's hard to put them away. It's just, there's too much that they bring. There's too much variety in what they offer in the way of attack. It's difficult to put them away.
Bada. Umar Farouk Osman. Pines mishits it. Run after it. And that will lead us to yet another overtime match here on the Big Ten Network. And perhaps more importantly, another overtime match between these two teams. 6 out of 7, now 7 out of 8 have gone to overtime.
Well, they're two very spirited teams, two great programs, one with a little more history than the other. Maryland has been around a little longer on the varsity level than Michigan has, but boy, Michigan's got a lot of heart, a lot of players who want to make a moment out of this afternoon, and there's a lot on the line when you talk about the Big Ten tournament starting next week.
All right, Chris Dorn, we're going to take a break and come back with overtime soccer. Can we get a sudden victory, tied at 1 through 90? We promised drama when we came on the air with this one, Maryland at Michigan, and we deliver some drama. It's 1-1 here as we head to overtime. Both coaches directing traffic. Hello again, everybody. Dean Linke along with Chris Dorn. Here we go again. Overtime soccer between these two teams.
Well, there's a lot of passion in the programs, right? There's a lot of passion on senior day for the Michigan players as well as the fans, and there's a lot of passion in wanting to host that game next weekend when it comes to the Big Ten tournament and the quarterfinals. Speaking
of passion, let's flash back to some special moments in this special matchup.
Yeah, there have been a lot, and the effort at goal at both ends has been tremendous. Little sloppy play throughout the course of the afternoon. But, in the past we have seen really great stuff, in particular between Maryland and Michigan, both at Ann Arbor and at Ludwig Field.
This was last year. You were on the call for this one as Francis Atuahene helping Michigan win their first regular season title, knocking it off Maryland at Maryland. Let's go to live standings here now. As remember, that Indiana score that we gave you earlier wasn't right. Maryland at 14, Michigan at 13. And as you take a look at it, you go to that 4-5 matchup. That will be big if these two teams got to square off again.
There are a couple of different scenarios in the middle of that pack. And aside from hosting, you also have the responsibility of squaring off against a team that maybe you've seen already in the way of the last weekend of play. Maryland and Michigan could meet next weekend if things go Maryland's way.
No, they would. They would if it ended right there. It would be Maryland and Michigan. The final was in. Penn State knocked off Rutgers. Let's take a look at the goal-scoring summary in this one.
33rd minute, great opportunity here as Rosendahl on the far side is looking for some help, but he finds it in Jack Hallahan, who has been terrific throughout the course of the afternoon. Now, Hallahan loves to cut this ball right across the goal mouth, and when he does, Kleeke's there, and Donovan Pines, the defender for Maryland, steps in, beats Kleeke to the ball, can't get it out of bounds. Instead, the own goal is registered. We go to the second half, and Maryland comes out with a vengeance. St. Martin does a terrific job there of finishing up on the restart. It's sloppy, it's slick, and he keeps his footing to get that ball in the goal.
First career goal for Brett St. Martin, and he had that opportunity to tie because earlier a breakaway opportunity, Robbie Mertz was able to beat the last defender, was able to beat Dane Sinclair, but out of nowhere, Matt DeRosa with what I say is the play of the game as you see the overtime records there. Maryland, they'll go the distance. Michigan 1-1 and 2.
You called it. I mean, you said early on that happened in the first 5 minutes of the second half when DeRosa gave chase from what looked like about 75 yards out and was able to beat Farouk Osman's shot to the goal line. And then I think you got your directors and producers hat on and you told everyone to rack it up because we're going back to it at some point.
Here we go, breakaway, and Michigan has done it! Hallahan with the winner! Michigan will host a Big Ten tournament game.
Well, we talk about how the first 5 minutes of each period, the last 5 minutes, so important. How about this long throw? And DeRosa thinks he's got it out of danger. The continued pressure, however, as Kleeke gets ahead on it. And now Robbie Mertz looking for Hallahan, and that slashing run leaves the defender behind Sinclair by himself, and the finish by Hallahan. Unbelievable as he does such a great job in the attack. Hallahan gets goal number 7 on the season.
34 seconds into overtime, and Jack Hallahan, a BTN standout presented by Auto Owners Insurance. You talk about producing, directing. You asked for Hallahan off the top, and Hallahan will finish it for Michigan.
Well, this is the way you want to end the regular season, at home with your seniors and everyone expecting success. Jack Hallahan helped deliver this afternoon.
We will be back to wrap it up from Ann Arbor. Another overtime thriller, this time Michigan with the winner over Maryland 2-1.